Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier and this is Ship Updates, and well, we do have some news. Now, the new concept ship is out. It is called the Origin 100i. Now, the 100i basically represents the starter offering for Origin, and I mean, it's a pretty standard looking Origin ship when you factor in the new Origin ships, much like the ship that we're going to discuss a little bit later, the 600i. And there's really, overall, I really don't have any issue with it. I mean, it looks like a pretty decent ship. It seems to have plenty of space on the interior. It carries a little bit of cargo. There's a couple of different versions. There's a straight up fighter version for a few, more than a few dollars more. I think about 15 bucks more. Depending on how you're going to purchase it, it varies. And there are even offerings with packages up to $2,400, which apparently include an 890 jump, and we'll get to that ship in a second. So there's a lot of options if you want to go out there and buy this ship. And of course, the fact that it comes with LTI insurance for the War Bond version, and that's an important thing that we're going to come back to in a second. If you've got a friend who wanted to get into Star Citizen or who's been thinking about getting into Star Citizen, here you go. Here's a ship with LTI. They can hop right in and they're good to go. So for the base level ship, which is, I think with the package is $55 US, they can go ahead, they get this ship, they get LTI with it, and they get Star Citizen, the game. Now remember, Squadron 42 is separate now from that, so they get Star Citizen. So make sure to explain that to a friend or a possible purchaser before they pick it up. Now, if you want to purchase the version with, say, recycled money, which has often been a thing within the Star Citizen universe or within the backer community, where you have a ship and then you go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to melt the ship and then I'm going to buy the concept and then I'm going to upgrade the concept to the ship that I had before so I can get LTI. Unfortunately, that is no longer a thing. Apparently, at the start of this sale, and now you would have to pledge new money in order to get the ship with LTI. So it seems like LTI is being kind of used as a bit of an interesting hook to get people to put new money into the game, and that the recycling of money is probably not in CIG's best interests, at least from their point of view financially. So this is probably an incentive to put new money into the game, whereas if you want to recycle into the ship, unfortunately, unless you have something of lesser value with LTI, it's just no longer going to be a thing. However, at this point, a lot of the older backers probably have a few buyback tokens and have a few ships on LTI that they can recycle, so it may not be an issue for a lot of them, but some people caught in the middle might be somewhat disappointed by that fact. And it is an important thing to note that you're basically getting 6 months of insurance if you use already pledged money to purchase this ship. So just be aware of that before you purchase it, because it might come as a bit of an unpleasant shock. Now, moving on ATV yesterday, we of course saw all the new interior shots and all the work in progress shots of the new 600i, rather interior and exterior. Now, keep in mind, once again, like the 100i and like the X1 space bike, this represents the new style of Origin, the, I guess, updated and smoother edged, much more, I guess blended shapes would be the word. I'm not an artist. So it looks, it looks a lot more modern, almost a little bit, almost like a little bit like a futuristic doctor's office, if you know what I mean. Very clean, a lot of very light colors, very very white, obviously, and so it seems to be somewhat of a departure from previous Origin ships. Now, of course, we know that the 300 series is getting a rework beginning later this year, but it does raise an interesting question with the 890 jump. Now, the 890 jump is very much representative of the old Origin. There's a lot more hard edges, a lot more sharp angles in that ship. And you'll remember that last year, beginning in March, the 890 jump went into production and then seemingly dropped off of the production schedule around the same time that the 600i came out. So that might mean that the 890 jump might be getting a bit of a look upgrade or change, depending on your tastes, to conform more to the new Origin style or style book, or however they define it. It may not have been really where they wanted it to go stylistically, as it may have looked like a bit of the odd man out in the Origin lineup when compared to the newer ships that are coming out. But at the same time, it could be left the way it is because it may represent the Origin of, say, yesteryear rather than the Origin of today. And like, this is supposed to be a bit of a living universe, so they may look at it as there are going to be some more, I don't want to use the word antiquated, but older models in the Origin lineup, and this may be representative of Origin in the past rather than the 600i, which represents Origin in the present / future when the ship becomes flyable. Now, realistically, considering the money invested in the 890 jump series by the players who bought them and the fact that they love these ships so much, which, trust me, I know an 890 jump owner and I never hear the end of it, I really don't think that CIG would make any profound changes to the exterior or interior appearance to the ship. They would probably go more for very slight changes to maybe bring it a little bit more into line, but I don't think that you would see anything like, oh, we're changing the engines, we're changing the guns, we're changing the entire layout. I don't think that they would go to that place. I think very much if there are going to be changes to the 890 jump, they're probably going to be very minor, because it would be kind of a risky move to change a ship that costs that much so profoundly unless it was seen as just a universal upgrade to the ship. Overall, the 600i, though, does look very much like the luxury liner that it's supposed to be, and even though I don't own one, I definitely see the appeal for those that do. I mean, I've always been more of a rough and tumble ship type guy, but I can see it. And, you know, this is a very stylish ship. This is a very nice ship. And there's been no real profound issues I've ever seen with the ship. So overall, I think that by the time it becomes flyable, the owners of the ship are going to be very pleased with what they get. Now, some things to keep in mind, of course, the change in LTI on the 100i could simply be a typo. It may just be that. I mean, it has happened before, so it may indeed be no big deal. And the changes to the 890 jump, that is not a fact. That is not a thing that is confirmed in any way, shape, or form. That is merely a question to be asked, if the 890 jump will get any, at least surface changes to conform to the existing Origin line, or if it's going to remain the same and maybe represent, you know, the Origin of yesteryear. Anyways, that's about it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and see you Monday.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.